Governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, went after Dr. Fauci, something that has become a favorite thing on the right, which is, hey, let's take this guy who is really in the, advisatory position to the president, trying to, within the moment we were in, give the best advice he could. Did he make mistakes? I'm sure. Is it worthy of the level of vitriol the right has for him? No, not at all. I don't know where this obsession came from, but it is real. And so Ron DeSantis plays into that, calling for him to be grabbed and chucked across the Potomac. So we'll watch that clip in a second here, but reading from the Daily Beast. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ramped up his Trump-like attacks on outgoing Chief White House Medical Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci on Wednesday, this time calling for someone to grab the 81-year-old infectious disease expert and chuck him across the Potomac. During a stop on his Keep Florida Free tour, DeSantis, often seen as a potential 2024 GOP presidential candidate, raged against Fauci for recently defending his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. "I'm just sick of seeing him," says Ron DeSantis. "I know he says he's going to retire. Someone needs to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac." So now to look at that moment, the actual video.
You have people like Fauci saying that his lockdowns didn't cause any permanent damage to any young kids. I got news for you, it did, and we are going to reap those rewards across the whole country for years and years and years because they treated kids so poorly. And I'm just sick of seeing him. I know he says he's going to retire. Someone needs to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac.
So I'm sure if you're watching my show, hopefully, well, I say that, but man, we got some angry people in my comments in most of my videos. But to all of the reasonable people, you know why that's dangerous. And you see someone who is a politician demonizing a public health official and then saying pretty explicitly, without quickly saying metaphorically or something, or making it clear that you were joking or anything like that, calling people and saying someone needs to do something physical. Now, obviously, you're not going to chuck him across the Potomac, but the grabbing him, someone needs to grab him and chuck him, is not something you want to be spreading to an audience that we've seen to be prone to violence. And so we're in a time where I think more than ever, you are responsible for being very, very wise with your language when it comes to anything that could be in the ballpark of promoting political violence because of how high tensions are at the moment. And so someone like Ron DeSantis, I have zero doubt in my mind whatsoever that he's 100% aware of what he's doing there. And he knows, after analyzing Trump and then probably seeing the things in his own speeches that get good applause lines, that his audience, his base, loves that type of talk because everyone knows. Everyone, right, left, and center, watches that and goes, ooh, he's clearly trying to subtly, not so subtly, threaten Dr. Fauci and promote an idea of doing something to him. And if you're someone who's a part of his base who likes that, then it's awesome that he's saying something that he's not supposed to say and going after someone that you hate in that way. And so then they have this connection because of that, and Ron DeSantis knows that's how he garners good support or motivated support from that part of his base. And I do think he's watched a lot of Trump's actions to kind of learn from him, because as DeSantis has gone on, he's gotten more and more Trumpian in his mannerisms and in his presentation and interactions with the media and speeches like this, because he wants to be the next Trump. And he's seen the things that were successful for Trump in the ways that he portrayed himself, and he's trying to mimic it. And that's why I talk about so much, especially to moderate Republicans who have been turned off by Trump. Don't lose sight that Trump has sparked a movement and a brand of Republicanism. So even if Trump passes, and I don't mean passes like dies, I'm saying, moves on and no longer Trump is in the picture, that doesn't mean that you don't need to still be hypercritical and hyper aware of the Republican Party for what it's become. Does that make sense? So Ron DeSantis is just as dishonest, just as dangerous as Trump, or he has a potential to be, because he's following in line of the type of Republican that Trump was, right? So don't think just because he doesn't send out as many crazy tweets, he's not also a threat. And I really try to plead with moderates about that, because I think there's some chance that once Trump is gone, they'll all, the phrase they used a lot of times going into the Biden era was go back to brunch or whatever it was. Don't get complacent once the really blatant orange man goes away, right? We could still be in a very dangerous situation because of leaders like Ron DeSantis. So be aware of that. Ron DeSantis calling for Dr. Fauci to be chucked. Grabbed and chucked. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support what I do as well as get access to the full show, all of the stories hours before any of the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus a weekly bonus show, you can go to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. That's patreon.com/Luke Beasley.